Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about organization, part organization, things like that. So of course it's not really a big topic of discussion, but there is definitely some key points in this that you definitely want to make sure that you try to do whenever you do have multiple guns or multiple objects or something like that that you're doing all at one time. So if you've seen any of the previous videos, of course you know that we always do like to batch things together, so then that way you're only having to go in the booth one time to spray multiple items, and of course that's how you're going to see the maximum profit, as well as going in just one time into the booth and then coming back out and you've got everything all done, so you're only mixing up paint for one job or primer for one job instead of multiple jobs at a time. So kind of wanted to shoot a quick little video on this to show you guys kind of what we do. Of course, there are tons of different ways, but these seem to work really well for us. And so what we've got here, as you can tell, we have tons of shotgun pieces, barreled action pieces. We've even got some pistols over here. And of course, every one of these are different customer jobs. But if you will notice, every one of these has an actual tag all the way on every one of them. And so what we like to do is we like to make sure that everything comes in and stays organized 100% throughout the entire process. So of course some of these may only be getting cerakote, some of these may be getting dipped. Either way, it's not a big deal, but it does make it a lot easier to keep everything together. And so like for instance with this one right here, we know that this gun right here is for max, and then of course we are going to be cerakoting it or something like that. And so we know, essentially you can put on there if it goes a certain color or if it goes a certain way. We can write on there what we need, how we need it to be, things like that, as well as of course keeping everything together a lot easier. So then of course we know, like on this one right here, we've already started to write down this one is going to be going in a titanium color, as well as we've got some of his other parts down here in titanium, and of course whatever we've got on this is going titanium as well. And so it makes it a lot easier, a lot more organized. And so the biggest key factor is, of course, don't be changing the hooks. But other than that, as long as the part stays on the exact same hook throughout the entire process, which should be very simple, even with the dipping, you should have a very organized way of doing everything. And then also it makes it a lot easier because you can visually come through here and see which ones need to go in titanium, which ones may need to go in a dip, which ones may need to go in a black, which ones need to have another color over here, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot simpler. Another thing that we also like to do is that we like to take and also mark these, especially whenever we're doing a lot of cerakote jobs, is we make sure that as we're prepping them out, we mark them so then that way we know which ones are plastic, which ones are carbon, which ones are full metal. And so that could be as easy as taking a Sharpie and putting a star by it, or putting P for plastic, or something like that, just so that way it's a visual indicator, so we know as we're going through here and we're coating every one of these, we know, oh hey, this one can go at 250 degrees or 300 degrees, but yet this one right here can only go at a different temperature, just because it is a plastic part. So that's definitely something to just make it a lot easier, make it a lot quicker. You spend a little bit of time in setting everything up, so then that way as you're going through and you're painting these, you're priming them, you're cerakoting them, whatever coating that you're doing on them, it makes everything go so much better, because then whenever you go to finish the job, you know exactly whose gun this is, you know exactly whose parts those are, you know which ones go with which, because inevitably as you start to grow, you're going to get a lot of parts in at one time. And so definitely having a very good organization pattern like this right here, or even something different, even if you print off labels or something like that, whichever way works best for you, it's definitely always really critical to make sure that you have a very good organized system whenever you go into the booth, into the oven, into the dip tank, or anything like that. Always try to keep them as organized as possible. So also another thing to definitely help keep your shop organized is to have a table. And so as you can tell, we have tons of different tape lines going across it. And so what we've managed to do is we have put these so then that way it helps us stay organized. And so one thing that we can do is we can look here, and we've of course got a larger area over here. So like for instance, this would be a bike frame or something like that. And so what we try to do is whenever we're going and we're blasting and doing things like that, we always try to make sure that every part goes back in the exact same area or designated section that it's in. And so what this does is it helps us really realize that, okay, this guy right here, he's sitting right here, and we keep everything organized. So whenever we go to blast all these pieces like these or coat any of them or do anything like that, everything goes back to this one spot, and then of course everything stays within the line. So then once we have these all blasted like this, we can turn around, grab a hook, and of course hook them up, put a piece of tape on it, and then now we know that all of these pieces right here go to this customer right here. And so it also makes it nice because then, as you can tell, we have multiple different customer jobs going all the way through here. One might be a gun, one might be some metal pieces, another one might be pieces to a mirror or something like that, but we keep a lot of the tickets right here for that case. So then that way whenever we are setting everything up, we know that all of these pieces right here go to this customer. Same thing, we know that all of these pieces right here go to this customer, and so on and so forth. And so this also definitely really helps whenever you have a bunch of parts coming in all the time. It helps everything stay organized and stay to where you don't get parts mixed up, because inevitably we could take all these pieces and throw them in the blast cabinet. But if you don't have a very good memory, or by chance things happen and you could get these mixed up to where if you have another gun that has maybe this exact same foregrip on it, but yet one's for a 12 gauge, one's for a 20 gauge, they're going to be different just a little bit. But if you dip them in the wrong pattern or you paint them in the wrong color, then of course now that's extra downtime for you to have to redo it because of course you didn't stay organized. So by having a table set up like this right here, it really helps out. Of course there are tons of other ways that you can do this, but this is definitely a way that we found that really helps keep everything organized, especially in the prep stage, because then we can line up multiple jobs all the way through here with either multiple guns or of course, as you can tell, bike frames or anything like that, and it really helps keep everything organized all the way through the entire process. So as you can tell, organization is definitely a key factor in making sure that your business is productive, and it of course stays well organized, so that way everything moves as smoothly as possible. Of course there are tons of other ways that you can keep organized, but these are just a couple of the ways that we've found that helps out tremendously whenever you have multiple jobs coming in all the time. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you on anything hydrographics related as well as organization related. Also, if you have any other tips or pointers on what helps keep your shop organized, we'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Also, definitely give us a big thumbs up on the video. It helps the video get more views as well as gets it out there to more people so they can of course enjoy the videos that we put out, as well as if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to our weekly tips and tricks for anything hydrographics related. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. We'll see you guys next time.